some food out to the people working in the field. And she was hungry and she ate some of it. She told the nun that she ate some of it. I don't know if she got in trouble or not.
What did she eat?
Some of the food that she had taken,
prepared.
they had taken out for the other people.
So it sounds like the orphans weren't fed well, but they were called upon to serve food to others.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like
So then there's
But
the.
she couldn't wear the tight habit. When she was 16, she was supposed to take her, she said her not her final, but her vows. And she couldn't wear the tight cap that they were required to wear.
Why was that?
Well, her head broke out in sores.
And so what did the Mother Superior say?
They took her to the doctor. The doctor said she could never wear that tight habit. That she probably had psoriasis on her scalp.
There was a story about her going downstairs to pick sprouts off potatoes. Could you tell us that story?
Oh, yeah. Well, the mother, the nun in charge, asked for volunteers to go down to the cellar to take the sprouts off the potatoes. They had to go down a cellar area, and so she volunteered. And then when she was down there, she said, "Oh my!" Remember hearing her say that? And she was bit by the spider, and she told them that something bit her, and they said, "Oh, you're okay." And then she passes out, and they have to carry her out of there and take her into bed, and they thought she was going to die.
Wow.
She was bit by a black widow, maybe. I don't know.
What kind of deadly spiders do they have? This would have been Ljubljana.
Good question.
Yeah, Ljubljana. Yeah.
I wonder. Huh.
What are you doing, Carol?
Making a Christmas present.
Wow, aren't you ambitious?
No, I'm behind.
Oh, you're behind.
So what happened after she couldn't wear the habit?
They took her to the
Is it
doctor.
like a,
He said she wouldn't be able to wear that.
So what happened after that?
I think she
Oh, yeah.
eventually
Oh, wow.
left the convent for a while.
Neat.
Where did she go?
Where did she go?
Did she
She
go?
went to a city close to the Adriatic, and I can't remember the name of the city. And she worked as
As a
nanny, was it, or governess?
a maid, sort of like.
But she took care of the children, didn't she?
Yeah, she took care of the children.
And the man was Italian,
Yeah, and the woman was
French,
French, I think. Yeah.
and they could not speak each other's language.
Not very well, right?
But how many children did they have?
He had two.
Okay.
He was a sea captain, and they lived in Pula, which is right close on the water to the Adriatic, I think. Yeah.
So
And then what happened?
Then she got a letter from.
Well, she was going to. Didn't she say in her tape about a boyfriend that she had, or
Yeah,
a man who wanted to be her boyfriend?
Yeah. But she didn't want to have that much to do with him.
And then she decided. She told him, "Yes, I will go out with you." Remember? And then she came home, thinking, "I don't want to go out with him." And what happened when she got home? She had a letter.
Oh, she had a letter from her uncle in Butte.
And who was that?
And that was Frank Cash, her mother's brother in Butte.
And
And
what
he had the 5 Mile Hotel.
what was the letter about? What did he send her?
He sent her money so she could come over to come on the ship to Montana.
And what did she do?
She went to see her.
She left right away, didn't she?
Yeah, she left right away.
So she left her position as a governess / maid,
Right.
and she must have packed it rather quickly. And
Yeah, probably one dress.
oh, I guess she wouldn't have much to pack then.
Right. And then her sister Mary, who was helping with the family that had 13 children, said, "Oh, I wish I could go." She wanted to go so bad with her.
Oh.
So they sent the
They
passage.
didn't have enough money for the
They sent the
tickets.
passage for her to
So,
come to the Americas.
They borrowed their brother Ignaz borrowed some money on the farm. The farm is still in the family in Vishnagora.
Who owns the farm now?
Probably somebody in the family.
Oh, I thought you visited the farm.
We did, yeah.
Do you remember the name of the people who were there?
It was the second wife of, I think it was Ignaz.
Oh. So Ignaz's second wife.
We went into the farmhouse, and right across the road from that house is the new house that was built by her daughter, Slavka Zupancic. I sent her a Christmas card.
Oh, wonderful. And now, are they related to Tatiana?
No, that's Tatiana's grandpa's side of the family.
Okay, okay. I
Tatiana's
gotta
the
get it
Leskovar.
all
Yeah,
I understand.
straightened out.
yeah. So, Mary said she'd like to go. So, they gave up all of their interest in the farm, in the,
Wow.
both my mom and Mary, and he was able to borrow some money on the house and give it to them so that they were able to both go to Montana.
And who was it that did this? This was Ignaz that did it?
Ignaz.
Ignaz borrowed the money on the house.
What?
Ignaz borrowed the money on the house?
Yeah,
Okay.
on the farm,
On the-
actually, it was a farm.
On the whole
And they
farm.
gave the money to Mary and Louise so they could come to the United States.
And my mother used part of her money and went on a cheaper passage so that they could afford for Mary to go.
Tell us about their voyage over from Europe then to Butte. What did they have to endure?
Oh, they were hungry.
But they took the ship.
Did they have anything?
Did they leave in England? Did they leave from England or from
I
somewhere?
don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
They arrived in the United States.
And Ellis Island.
And then what happened?
Then when they're in the United States, they had to get a train to go to Montana.
Had they had anything to eat?
They hadn't had anything to eat and they were hungry. Well, I guess they had something on the ship, but they were hungry. And
How many days were they at sea?
how many days, what, Jill?
Days were they at sea?
Well, I don't know, probably 7 maybe.
7.
Yeah, they might have had enough money to buy something, but they bought a basket of food before they got on the train. And they got it and opened it on the train and they said, "Ooh," it was all moldy.
Oh no.
So they didn't go to have anything to eat, and there's a man from Roundup, Montana, right, Mary? And he said, "Ladies, aren't you going to go and get some food in the dining room?" And they said, "No." They kept saying that for a day or two, and then they finally got so hungry, and they said, "Well, we don't have any money." And so he said, "I will pay for you."
Oh.
And then my mom said in her tape that they did pay him back. So they did get some food. They went directly to Butte, and her uncle came to meet them. And I remember my mom telling me this, and I laughed because it was so funny. Her uncle, Frank Cash, said, "Oh, GeeMaKneee! You got two instead of just one.
Oh.
GeeMaKneee!" I laughed when my mom said that. So they both did work at the 5 Mile. And my mom, they did a little bit of everything. And their uncle, Frank Cash, his wife was very mean and strict and didn't like it because these girls were coming there. And
They were young and probably energetic.
yeah, probably. But I was in the 5 Mile just once, and it was a beautiful place. They had a
When you were-
large dining room area with the beautiful hardwood floors in the center, and they had the very private. They had curtains where you could close off the curtains when you were in the booth. And the kitchen was huge. It was really, really big kitchen.
So tell us about 5 Mile when your mom worked there. What was it actually? Was it
It was
just a restaurant?
yeah, sort of a restaurant, and they did have some rooms, but not many.
And they rented the rooms out?
Yeah. And they slept in the rooms there at the 5 Mile. I guess they'd have a lot of parties there, and it was 5 miles out of town. You had to go past the cemetery, and then always after a funeral service, they all ended up at the 5 Miles and have drinks.
Was the
So they
cemetery-
must have had a big bar?
What?
They must have had a bar?
They had a big, huge bar that had quite a history.
Oh.
It was supposed to be in the first bar brought over to Montana from the east, and it was a beautiful bar.
How was it brought over?
Horse and buggy, they said.
Well,
Wagon.
probably a wagon,
What
Yeah,
about train?
probably.
but not a train.
Like pieces?
No.
Wow.
Now, there is a
It's-
5 Mile existing. Is that the same 5 Mile, or what, is it, the existing one smaller? Did
The
something-
5 Mile is a stone building, and
Close to, East,
it's still standing, I believe.
Well, we were there at the 5 Mile.
Yeah.
We saw the building, but it wasn't really large. I don't think it, maybe it's, my concept of what is big and what was big back then are two different things.
Yeah.
But it did have a beautiful bar, and Chuck and I just walked in and then looked around and then left.
Oh.
But I'm wondering if there was another area when your mom lived there that was, the big dining room you talked about.
They had two dining rooms, but not real huge. Yeah. And
And you said-
they had the booths, and they had the curtains, and the beautiful hardwood floors.
You said it was close to the cemetery?
Yeah, just
And
5 miles out of Butte. You pass the cemeteries.
could you walk to the cemetery from the 5 Mile? Are they that close, or is it another little bit of a buggy ride?
Probably a little bit of,
bug ride.
So how long did your mom work there?
you think,
Because she'd have to pay back her passage, wouldn't she?
yeah, they had to pay back their passage money. They had to pay Uncle Frank back.
So they basically worked that off.
Yeah. Well, to begin with, let's see, they got there, I think probably in the spring. And then by the following January, I think they had paid back quite a bit. And her sister Mary married John Putzker. John Putzker liked my mom too, but she said, no, she said, Mary loves you. She said, you go with her. She was lucky because John Putzker was a farmer, then she had to work so hard. That's the farm where they had no special
That was Page, Montana, where you rode the horse.
Is
What?
it
That was
pray?
Page, that was Pay, Montana, where you rode the horse.
Is it pay or pray or pray?
Oh, I'm
Pray.
sorry, Pray. I
Pray.
mean,
Okay.
Pray was the name of the post office there, and that's where you'd have to go to get your mail. They lived real close to the river, and they used to get the ice out of the river and save it all year. We had delicious ice cream. That was a real treat.
And what river was that?
I don't remember.
Okay.
Yeah,
But
I could look it up and find
It was
out.
Helena, Montana, though. Is that right?
Helena?
Or what?
No,
what?
no. Livingston.
Livingston,
Close to
Montana.
Livingston.
Okay.
So, I don't know.
So that's where Mary and Frank settled and had their farm. Is that correct?
Yeah, I don't know all the particulars about the farm.
do you know any particulars about how your mom met your dad?
Yeah. My dad lived in Great Falls then. He actually came to the U.S. to meet his father in Helena, Montana, East Helena. And my dad was supposed to work in the smelter.
Now tell us a little bit about where your dad came from in the old country.
Well, it was Ribnica, where Fortunat and Maria and their family live. They still live in Ribnica. Yeah. And we were at that house. And it has Lousin written on the peak of the roof there, Lusin, right on the building. And that was in, like I say, Ribnica, and that's just south of Ljubljana. Ljubljana is the big capital of Slovenia.
What did Grandpa's dad do?
Oh, he worked in a smelter
When
in East Helena.
In Ribnica, what did he do?
I don't know. I don't know.
And what was his wife's name? Your dad's mom?
Oh, that was Monty.
Monty.
Yeah.
But what was her real name?
Agnes.
Agnes
Arco. A-R-K-O.
Agnes Arco Lousin.
I guess. Let's see.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Dad's cousin. I don't know. Dad's cousin.
Yeah, Agnes. Was actually, her first name was Neza. That's her Slovenian name. Neza. But it meant Agnes.
Like her first.
And her maiden name must have been Arco, A-R-K-O. And
Oil company.
my dad's, my
That would be your.
his father's name was John, is the same as my dad's.
That would be your dad's.
Yeah, that's why we named John
No.
John Anton, because he's the first grandson born in the family.
Or his.
Oh, so you
On the
named,
Leskovar side.
Well, Leskovar and the Anton was the first one,
You're
first
talking
grandchild
about
born on the Leskovar side too.
Okay.
so both sides. First grandchild
Yeah,
on both sides and
Yeah.
a son, and so of course you would name him the family name.
John.
First grandson born on both sides.
Well, we could have named him Anton, but we wanted to reserve that for Babe's first son. But I don't think they named Donald. No. We don't hear from Donald at all. We did get 2 cards from Jimmy this year. He lives in Marietta, Georgia.
So let's go back to your dad now. He was living in Slovenia, in Ribnica. And what was going on in his life at that time? Did his mom have a farm that they lived on, or were they in the city, or what was going on there?
No, they had a farm. But her husband, Giannis, went to Montana. And he worked in East Helena in the smelter. My dad was supposed to work in the smelter, but his health wasn't good enough. He couldn't tolerate the hard labor.
What did your dad do in Ribnica before he came to the United States?
I don't know.
Did he get training to be a tailor?
Oh yeah. Both he and Uncle Charlie were trained to be tailors. Yeah,
In Ribnica.
in Ribnica, right. And then when he couldn't work in the smelter,
Why did he go to the United States? Why didn't he just become a tailor in Ribnica? Why did he move
I
to...
think his mother wanted him to get out of there because they knew war was coming. Both he and Charlie. Charlie was the youngest one in the family.
And
Uncle
how-
Charlie. What?
where was Grandpa Leskovar? Where was John Lousin? Where was he in the family birth order?
Oh, I think he was the oldest.
Then there was...
Oh boy.
John, no,
It's probably in the book.
Yeah, could be,
this on the, no,
might be.
Lescabar side. or the
I'd have to
Racine
think
side?
about it, cause he
Okay.
had, he had a brother named Frank, he had a brother named Tony, he had a sister named Annie, he had a sister named, Mary. Who else did he have?
Annie, Tony.
I mentioned Tony, never knew Tony very well, he lived in Chicago.
He lived in,
Chicago or
Chicago, yeah,
What, Carol?
Chicago.
Chicago or Racine, Wisconsin.
No, Racine was Dad's side of the family.
Oh, that's right.
That's
Sorry.
Uncle,
We did call some, you know, people, you know, with Chicago or something, or Lucine, I don't know. So I remember when we were gonna go to, Ravenswood, we stopped at the,
we stopped where?
we stopped at Chicago and called the, some of the Lescabars in Chicago.
Well, Lescabars weren't in Chicago, you know. They were in Racine, Wisconsin.
Oh, okay.
That was Dad's uncle. Right, Carol?
Yeah. Trying to remember his name too.
Oh,
No, but
Charlie? It wasn't Charlie.
um,
he said, I just remember calling them from, I can't remember which.
I'm drawing a blank, Carol, help me.
I am too, Mom. I'm sorry. I'm no help today.
Oh, you are.
He's the one that used to send us the sausage all the time, he was a butcher.
Oh, Uncle Joe.
Yeah.
Joe.
Joe!
Joe.
Thank you, Janelle. Janelle remembered.
Yeah.
Very good.
In fact, Uncle Joe went and lived with them for a while, because they never had any children. And Dad's brother, Joe,
Did they have the
went and lived with
sausage?
them for a while, but he wanted to come home. Remember getting the smoked sausage?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Dried smoked sausage.
Yeah.
That
Well,
was
he was at
wonderful.
your wedding, Mary
And
Lou.
we'd always do
Yeah.
the
Yeah, I didn't know who you were talking about. I was looking at some stuff here. I know Uncle Joe's sausage.
Yeah.
Every Christmas we would get this box, and it would be about this by that by that.
What are those dimensions?
About 2 to 2.5 feet long, about 6 inches deep or 6 inches high, and maybe about a foot and a half deep. And we would have blood sausage. We'd have the long link sausage. We'd have Swiss cheese and blood sausage. And I'm not too sure how that all worked, but I think there was also sometimes Thuringer or something like a.
Oh, the smoked sausage is what was the most.
It was the most.
Yeah.
And we would just be so excited that Uncle Joe sent us this sausage, and usually Grandma Annie Lescabar, Dad's mom, would get on the phone or send Uncle Joe in Racine an order and pay for it, and it would come. And I remember how excited we were. And Mom would get out the sauerkraut, and we'd have boiled potatoes and sausage, and we were all in heaven, weren't we, Carol?
Yes, we were.
That was the
And
most
sausage.
delicious.
Yeah.
Oh, the sauce. Oh, definitely the sausage. And they were link sausages about 4 inches or 5 inches long?
Yeah.
About 5 inches long. And they were probably about 1.5 inches in diameter. And Mom, how would you fix them, Mom?
He boiled them.
Boiled them. Just boiled.
And then we'd cut into them,
And it'd be juice just running all over.
and you cut through that, and it wasn't synthetic. It was real, the real thing. It wasn't synthetic casing. It was real, whatever gut.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was delicious.
Intestine.
I
Intestine.
asked
Yes.
Dad one time what
And
type
sauerkraut.
of sausage it was, and he said it was dry smoked.
Dry smoked. Okay.
But
When I was
have
in
to-
Europe, it was quite interesting when we went to one of these open house or they call them open air museums, and we went into one of these houses that was like how you described your mom's mother's and father's house, the one where they saw their mother die. They had it was a house that was almost like an A-frame, but very long A-frame, and on each side there was a structure. One was for living and the other was for the animals, and in the center was a breezeway that you could close off, and inside the breezeway they had hanging sausages that were drying in the smoke. So smoke dried sausage, probably that's how they did it back then.
So now would Joe have had a recipe like this from,
Had like a-
Where would
he have gotten the recipe?
Where did he learn his butchering and his sausage making skills?
I'm not sure.
Probably,
I'm not sure.
Okay, now back to the Louisins.
Yes.
We're going back to Lousin family?
Yeah, back to the Louisin family.
Yes.
Now back at the ranch.
Meanwhile, we keep getting on little rabbit trails, but that's okay. It makes the story more interesting, doesn't it?
My dad was the oldest son, so he was considered the head of the family. And they would all often ask him for advice. He was supposed to kind of be helping with the younger brothers and sisters. But he did have a sister who was older, and her name was Mary, and she married Prevost. That's where the Prevost family comes in.
Okay.
Have you met any Prevosts?
I don't think I have.
Oh, Prevol. They're around. They had a good sized family. She died quite young. They had one child that was born that was disabled. I remember as a she never got very big. And Prevosts were always very successful, very business successful. And do you remember any of the Prevosts, Mary Lou?
Yeah.
Oh, you remember Rudy was the guy that was so nice to you when you were little.
Yeah, in California.
Yeah, in California. And then there was Frank Prevost, and he was
round and happy and curly hair.
Yeah. And there's quite a few of the Prevosts. They lived in Great Falls. Anyway, that was the oldest child was Mary, and she married a Prevost. And then my dad was next. And then there was there was my dad and Uncle Charlie. Uncle Charlie was probably one of the youngest. There was I can't even think straight now.
Okay, time to stop for a while, maybe.
You want to take a rest, Mom?
No, there's Auntie Paula, and she was married twice, and the last husband, the one that she had, I guess the first one died. His name was Sloger, and they lived in Butte. There was Aunt Annie. She was the very religious one. She lived in Great Falls. You remember Aunt Annie at all?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. There was
Aunt Annie?
Aunt Annie had the most beautiful, well-kept home. Oh, everything was just in pristine order. You would walk into her house and it looked like it was, she was ready for a photo shoot. It was just absolutely beautiful.
How big was it?
Very small, very simple. Everything was in its place and everything was clean. He was just absolutely marvelous.
That was Polly's mother.
That was Polly's mother.
And Mary Neeson's mother.
And Josie's mother.
Josie was mentally.
I was told, I think it was from you or your mom, that she was the most beautiful baby.
Oh.
She looked like a China doll. She was just perfect in every way. And then what happened? think she got something like the flu or some kind of an illness.
Yeah.
And that affected her, so she never grew past an infant. She was always this beautiful baby, but she grew older and older. And she was older than you, wasn't she, Mom?
Yeah.
And I remember as
They had to
children,
take care of her,
she was
had to feed her a lot of times.
and change her diaper and
Yeah.
bathe her.
She was a grown person.
And I remember as a child, we went to Aunt Annie's house, and it was amazing. It was amazing to see how clean this house was. And we
There was
walked.
only 3 rooms.
Oh, we walked into the house, and we were able to go in and see Josie. And I remember going into this room thinking I was going to see this small child. We walked in this room, and there was this large, full-size bed, and everything in the room was picked in perfect order, everything perfect. And here's this old woman laying in the bed, and I'm going, oh my goodness, I thought she was a lot younger from what I understood, that she was the most beautiful baby, this China doll. And it was kind of sad, but she had a beautiful life because her mother took such wonderful care of her. Do you remember that, Carol?
Not really.
Okay, I think it was you and John and I think it was
Probably.
you were a little bit younger than I, so that's probably why you can't recall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you remember Polly, don't you, Carol?
Oh, yes.
And you remember Mary Neeson.
Oh, yes.
Polly was always jolly.
Yeah.
She had a round face, and didn't she have kind of reddish colored hair? It was bright. Everything about her was sparkly.
And
She had jewels.
and thin eyebrows.
Well, I don't remember so much of that. I
I
just
do.
remember she had so much stuff. And I think I have a tray that she gave me for a wedding present. And it was just like Polly.
They never had any children. And her husband was so wonderful. His name was Bill.
And she always wanted to go back to the old country. She wanted to see the old country. And all she would talk about, I remember with you and Grandma, were, oh, I just want to go back so bad. And then she got her wish. Didn't she, Mom?
I think she did, yeah.
I remember she did. She got back, went to the old country, and she just loved it. And she became ill,
She got pneumonia, I think.
That would be Mary.
and she died.
She
in
died
Europe.
there.
In there.
Oh,
It was
oh.
interesting, I thought, because she always wanted to go back to see the country that her family roots came from, and she got back there, and she became ill and died.
Now, what year would have this taken?
It was after Chuck and I got married, so it was probably in the 70s.
That would be.
Possible.
Then what happened to Mary Neeson?
She died also.
Just recently, wasn't it? Just a
What?
couple years ago?
Oh, no, it's quite a while.
Oh,
Was
Mary.
it that?
Yeah.
Didn't she have a daughter who became a nun?
Oh, yeah. No, wait a minute. Donna.
That was her daughter.
No, this
I
was-
don't think it was Mary Neeson's daughter. I think.
Who was the one that was married so many times and living with the?
Oh, that was Emma.
Emma's daughter.
That's what it was.
Yeah, Emma's daughter.
So
You're
was
right.
that Mary?
Became the nun.
Yeah, she was a nun for 50 years and retired not long ago.
So how was Emma related? Is she related on the
She's
same?
Auntie Paula's daughter.
Okay,
She's
that's
my
who she
first cousin.
was. Okay.
How old
She had 3 children.
Mom?
She had Bob and Donna and Shirley. And I think, well, Shirley is supposed to have had some problems. She's married a professor and lives
You probably wouldn't.
someplace
You
south.
go, so,
Yeah. Anyway,
let's see.
We should probably take a break and open some gifts.
I'm gonna go to bed.
Yeah, I bet. Me too.
Can you open a
Maybe.
couple presents before you go to bed?
No, not me. You guys do. I opened one already.
Oh, Carol wants to give you something.
Well, you know what? Let's just do something kind of fun and let's snuggle next to Grandma and say Merry Christmas into the camera for posterity.
No, just make
Not-
sure we.
Not posterior, but posterity.
What? You want me to
Oh,
Sit
you're
up.
perfect.
How you
No,
doing?
you're just perfect.
Legs.
How are we doing there, Mom?
Mom,
You have to lift it up a bit?
Oh, I think we
Oh,
can. Merry
on the knee.
Christmas.
Oh, wait,
let me move this.
Oh, you're fine.
give me a headshot
How do we look?
here.
Can you see us?
You want
we
me
can
up
be up?
higher?
Carol up higher.
Oh,
And Jennifer down lower.
Oh, I can be short.
okay.
And Janelle in further.
So I just squat
Come closer to me.
Okay, I cannot hold this pose for long and you better know where you're going.
Where are you going?
Are we ready? Ready?
Here we go, here we go.
Here we go.
Here we go. 1, 2, 3.
One,
Everybody,
two,
ready?
three.
Merry Christmas.
7.
7. Oh my goodness.
Happy 2008.
New
Yes,
year.
New Year.
New Year.
And today is December,
24th.
24th.
yeah, and
Oh,
it's,
24th.
it's
Oh,
almost
yeah.
11 o'clock. So
Christmas Eve.
we're
Yes.
very near the.
So God bless.
God bless.
Bless.
God bless you.
God bless.
Peace.
God bless you. Has it clicked yet? Ouch, you know that.
Oh, it's clicking.
It's been clicking all
It's
along.
clicking away.
Clicking away.
Yeah.
I'll let you turn it off, Jen.
Why don't you get ready and
I
let
know,
somebody
I
take
think,
you?
yeah.
Or Carol can take you home, huh, Carol?
No.